Hello and welcome to this lecture on writing for social media, blogging, and blogger outreach. Why does it matter if you write well on social media? Well, every social post that you publish reflects on your brand. If you're sloppy, then your company will look sloppy too. Even worse, it could undermine your success on social media. So that's why it's important to write well. Social media copywriting requires some pretty unique skills. You need to be able to cram as much value into a few words as possible. You also have to be consistent and engaging at all times. Plus, every network is very unique. What works on Facebook might flop on LinkedIn. This makes becoming a master social media wordsmith even more difficult. Now, we usually get somewhere around 5,000 messages a day. Do we attend to all of them? No, we select a fraction of them. It's a fact that some people read very little and some read a great deal. Why? Well, the answer may very well lie in the work of a man named Wilbur Schramm. He is the founder of mass communication as a science. He created a formula he called the fraction of selection. The dividend consists of all the rewards we expect to receive from something we do. The divisor is whatever effort or difficulty we might have to endure to get the reward. And the quotient is the frequency. That is how often we end up doing this action. Thus, if there's a restaurant where you'll eat a great meal, but it's a 200-mile drive and the price is high, chances are that you don't go there very frequently. On the other hand, if it's not too far away and not too expensive, you'll eat there a lot more often. That's how the fraction of selection works. As a writer, the key is this. You need to be providing people with information that can make their lives better and make it fun to read. Thus, they will more frequently visit your social media pages. The next few slides are from a wonderful public relations writing expert named Anne Wiley, and she conducts workshops on writing for all kinds of media, but really focuses on the importance of storytelling. The first question she poses is this: what is our job as strategic communicators? Is it to produce content? It's a bit of a tricky question. Our job is essentially to produce attention, and when we slime people with irrelevant information, what happens? Think about friends that you may have on social media who constantly post about the same things all the time. You stop paying attention. Well, when we as organizations do that, people stop paying attention. We all know people who do this, and at some point we don't pay attention or as much attention as we used to. When brands post information that don't matter to their buyers, the buyers will tune out. 60% of the stuff that gets retweeted includes links. That means resources are getting shared. So share something unique, interesting, and novel, and try to include links. And make it all about you, meaning the buyer. The most retweeted word is actually you. Most people share information because it's either interesting or entertaining, it's helpful, or just because it's funny. So in the FBI example you see on the slide, they're writing a story, not a promotion. They found the drama, they pushed a verb, and chose an interesting way to start the tweet. Good words to start with are things like go bad, busted, exploit. Bad or ineffective words would be things like announce, introduce, launch. Use metaphors, analogies, and human interest. If you have to, use a thesaurus to find specific, strong, and precise words. Notice how the FBI stopped in the middle of the tweet. They teased you, and they made you want to see the rest. That's clickability. Look at these examples on the slide and see which one gets your attention the most. Of course, the second one in each pair gets more attention. It makes you curious. What do you mean by paint the schnauzer? Well, apparently the backstory is that kids got bored in the summer, so they painted the family dog. So you need to put them in a summer camp experience instead so that they don't get bored. See how the tease of paint the schnauzer makes you want to find out more? Here's a question for you. How many sentences make a readable paragraph online? When I ask my students this in class, I usually get answers like 4 or 5. Actually, it's 1 or 2 at the most. People are going to make decisions on how your stuff looks visually on the screen. And if you present them with a wall of words, they're not going to take the effort to try to wade through all of that. In addition, the maximum length of a first paragraph online should only be 25 words. That's not a lot. And some of you may have taken a media writing class where they teach you in the first paragraph you need the 5 W's and the H, the who, what, where, when, how, and the why. Well, the job of the first paragraph on social media is actually to get people to read the second paragraph. So try to give them interesting, engaging content that will encourage them to keep going. You don't actually have to include the most important information in that first paragraph. Commas, periods, colons, and dashes work really well in making things like tweets and posts more readable. Semicolons, interestingly, are pretty much the only punctuation mark that don't work well. It usually signals a long, complex thought or sentence, and let's face it, most of us don't know how to use them correctly. Posts with the subject, verb, object structure tend to get passed along more. And think about stopping a dramatic tweet, like the FBI example, in the middle of a word or a thought. One of the things you want to do visually with your content is make it scannable. Make things lift off the screen. Don't make, again, a wall of words. Think about breaking it up and making it visually interesting with pictures and video. So how do people read online? Well, another trick question. They actually don't read. They scan in under a minute or faster. And if they don't like what they see, if they don't think it's going to speak to them, then they're not going to stay on your social media page or your website. There's a PR firm called Ogilvy, and they say to focus your energy on writing compelling copy for your most essential elements of communication. Email subject lines, posts to social media, and titles for your content marketing pieces are crucial. So you want to do things like using a casual and not a corporate voice. The KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, as some of us learned it, is really important here. You don't want a lot of jargon or highfalutin language. Use pronouns to make it really personal and speak to the reader. And play with punctuation, capitalization, and numbers. And Ogilvy says on average 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. So when you have a well-written headline, then you've spent basically 80 cents out of your dollar. Do be compelling, and the best way to stand out is the age-old question, what's in it for me? I use this opportunity to concisely describe how the item I'm sharing will benefit the reader. This is the essence of copywriting, and there's so many different ways to accomplish this. Here are just a few ways that I could promote a blog post, which is titled The 5 Most Overlooked Business Benefits of Social Media. Get more client referrals with content marketing. Pose an interesting question that mentions additional benefits. Do you have time to take on more business? Or simply display a thrilling excerpt from your work. 9 out of 10 people would use their realtor again if only they could remember their name. Don't use what we call weasel words. Weasel words are words that are meant to give the impression that something meaningful has transpired, but in reality are pretty meaningless. No one is impressed with words like maybe or hopefully or try. Replace those wishy-washy terms and show off real grit with words like guarantee or expect. How does this work out in your headlines? You definitely don't want to live in the past. Live in the now. Your actions can be described in a way that's either passive or active. Active voice is a straightforward way of describing your actions. I did this. Passive words employ a third party or an unknown agent to perform the action. This was done. Passive voice downplays the impressiveness of your accomplishments. What's the difference in practice? Well, passive voice would be, we were awarded the trophy. Active voice would be, we won the trophy. Isn't the active voice so much more powerful? Be bold and let your reader know when you're responsible for something great. Take these things into consideration: the best message type, the perfect length, the right amount of hashtags, and the ideal number of emojis. You can check out these tips on convinceandconvert.com. For example, let's look at Facebook. Link posts tend to perform best on Facebook, followed by image and text. The best Facebook posts are 111 characters long. Posts that are 119 characters long are good, and posts around 40 characters long are okay. Use 0 hashtags on Facebook, even though the network does support them. Use 1 emoji in your Facebook post. While it might feel easy to use the templates all the time, to write the perfect length and use the perfect number of hashtags, the best way to increase your social media engagement is to share content that your audience is truly interested in. Use this resource as a guide, analyze your data, repeat what works and remove what doesn't, but never let the fear of failure prevent you from starting. Don't forget using visuals to break up the content. This is from a website called quicksprout.com. Why is visual content so important? Here's some stats. Also, the brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than it does text, and 90% of the information sent to our brains is visual. Think about blogging in 4 ways. It allows you to easily monitor what millions of people are saying about you, the market you sell to, your organization, and its products. Monitoring gives you a sense of the important bloggers, their online voices, and blog etiquette. Secondly, to participate in these conversations by commenting on other people's blogs. That starts you on the way to being known to other bloggers and allows you to present your point of view before you create your own blog. Thirdly, to work with bloggers who write about your industry, company, or products. Many powerful connections and relationships can be made there. You should work with bloggers, even those who are negative, so they know as much as possible about what you do. Then finally, when you feel comfortable, to begin to shape those conversations by creating and writing your own blog. Choosing where you want to build your blog is pretty much the first thing you have to do. WordPress is by far one of the biggest blogging platforms in the world currently, with countless plugins and add-ons and almost infinite ways to design and lay out your blog. There are more than 82 million active users of WordPress. A lot, basically. There are other alternatives, however. Blogger is the next best thing to WordPress. And then Tumblr is sort of half social network, half blog, interesting and pretty simple to use. Remember that your blog's design should reflect both you and your personality, but also what the blog is about. There's no point having a football-oriented theme if your blog is about tennis. All marketing and PR people need to go to blog search engines and run a query on their organization's name, the names of their products and services, and other important words and phrases such as executives' names. Technorati is an excellent blog search engine. It allows you to instantly see if any of the 112 million blogs that it tracks have any information you might need to know. Google Blog Search is another popular blog search engine. More sophisticated marketers then start to analyze trends. Is your product getting greater or fewer blog mentions compared to your nearest competitor's product? Are the blog posts about your company positive or negative in tone? And how does that compare with the information from 6 months ago? Opinions are offered on blogs, and understanding the sum of those opinions is really important. You can't just make decisions on what you think your products do. You need to make decisions on the perceptions of what people are actually doing with your products. Seeing the blogosphere as a source of market intelligence is now vital for companies. Bloggers provide instantaneous and unsolicited comments on your products, and this free information is just waiting for you to tap into it. All sorts of unethical practices go on in the blogosphere, and you have to be certain to hold yourself and your organization accountable for your actions as a blogger. Some organizations have gotten caught using unethical practices on blogs and have done great harm to their corporate reputations. Here are some of the issues you need to pay attention to. Transparency. Don't ever pretend to be someone or something you are not. For example, don't use another name to submit a comment with. Don't create a blog that talks about your company without disclosing that someone from your company is behind it. Privacy. Unless you've been given permission, don't blog about something that was disclosed to you. And then disclosure. Disclose anything that people might consider a conflict of interest. For example, if Mr. Jones wrote about a product from a company that's one of his consulting clients, he would need to put a sentence at the end disclosing his relationship with the company. Truthfulness. Basically, don't lie. For example, never make up a customer story just because it makes good blog content. And finally, credit. You should give credit to bloggers and other sources whose material you've used in your blog. Besides, link to other bloggers whose ideas you've used, and that helps to introduce them to your blog, and they may link to you. The bottom line, if sending a post feels funny to you for some reason or makes you uncomfortable, it may be unethical. What would your mother say about that post? If she would tell you it's wrong, it probably is. So don't send it. Do the right thing. We know our current advertising and promotions market is cluttered and oversaturated. So you'll often hear PR firms promote themselves as being able to cut through the clutter. One of the techniques that many PR professionals feel is a good way to accomplish that and reach consumers directly is blogger outreach programs. The great thing about these programs is the opportunity to have some really robust two-way communication, and you're also partnering with people who can have a very powerful voice in the marketplace. An Edelman survey found that rather than advertisers and other similar promoters, a person like me, a peer, is the most credible spokesperson. How do you define a blogger outreach program? This is where you, your company, or your agency works closely with a carefully selected group of bloggers to promote your company, services, or products. The group of bloggers that you use, they will look at your products and services, use them, and write a review to post on their site in exchange for payment, more products, or both. Have you ever wondered why webmasters constantly bombard your inbox asking you to potentially review their companies? It's because it works. Although blogger outreach is very time intensive, it can dramatically increase your sales. Think of it this way. 81% of the people online trust the information they read on blogs, and 61% of those people have made a purchase based on a blogger's recommendation. It gets even better. 63% of people are more likely to be influenced by a blog than a magazine to make a purchase. If you have no information to start with, then the first port of call is to try and create your brand's personas. This will allow you to dive into your audience and see who they are and what they really care about. Your niche will determine which bloggers you should engage with and on what platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, personal blogs, etc. Take a beauty brand, for example. Over the past few years, beauty bloggers have exploded on YouTube, with vloggers dominating the beauty industry and covering over 97% of all beauty content. This would make YouTube the perfect platform for a beauty brand wanting to work with other bloggers. What we specifically look for in a blogger will really depend on the goals of the campaign and what the brand wants to achieve. Here are some main aspects of a blogger that we would consider. Good trust and citation flow on their website. This will help show that the blog has a healthy backlink profile. Lots of search visibility. We use a few different tools to measure this, all of which show different results, but ultimately we want to be targeting bloggers who have plenty of visibility in the targeted location to ensure the campaign will actually be seen. A good social following. What we define as good will depend on the niche in terms of numbers, but we want to work with bloggers who are engaging with their audience, are very active on a lot of social media platforms, and are getting real, not fake, real likes, comments, and shares and subscribers. Get to know the bloggers you want to target. See what they post and what they're interested in to see if they'll be a good fit for your brand. And more importantly, if they'll want to collaborate with you. Here are some examples. Urban Decay, their main platforms would be Instagram, YouTube vloggers, and media coverage. What's the message? Urban Decay decided that to completely change their lipstick collection by removing and relaunching all of their lipstick products. They decided to create one big range of 100 lipsticks. They kept some old favorites, but also improved formulas, packaging, as well as quality. With any product rebranding or launching, it's important to increase a buzz around the new products. You want your consumers to feel excited, and that's exactly what they did. Why is this campaign good? Well, instead of giving away a few select lipsticks, Urban Decay, they gave away the whole collection to a group of bloggers. This campaign works due to the scale of what they're giving to bloggers. What beauty blogger doesn't want 100 brand new lipsticks to add to their collection? While this isn't an option for all brands, it worked really well for them. What are they trying to achieve? As beauty blogging is such a large niche within the blogger world, the amount of bloggers Urban Decay can work with is huge. They've collaborated with a mixture of high influential bloggers to lower level but still very important bloggers. People are talking about the campaign on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, everywhere. You only have to search hashtag #lipstickismyvice on Instagram to see almost 20,000 images. While this doesn't sound as impressive as it could be, they only came out in June of 2016. Here's another example, AO Wasteless Journey. Their main platforms were personal blogs and media coverage. AO wanted to help reduce food waste across the UK and spread awareness of this and their brand. They created an interactive piece of content that shows stats and facts about food waste in the UK. The campaign itself tried to explore food waste in more detail through various different avenues with varying content. Why is it good? The content itself has so much information within for the user, and it can be applied to almost everyone. It's interactive, it displays a clear message, and it leads you to other information relating to content at the end. It takes the audience through the whole process of their food shopping, from buying, where to get the store, cooking, and then how to manage leftovers. The reason this works so well is because of how informative it is. It's an educational piece for the reader, but with a very clear and real feel message. We waste too much, and this piece puts that into perspective. What are they trying to achieve? Well, AO collaborated with a wide variety of bloggers in many different ways. They ran competitions giving away appliances, worked with bloggers to produce collaborating content, and speaking to the press and gaining media coverage on websites such as the Daily Mail as well. AO created one amazing piece of content, as well as supporting content such as the infographic that you see on the screen. If you want to achieve the type of coverage that the Wasteless Journey campaign has, you need to think about different avenues where content can be created and not be scared of venturing into something you've never tried before. As we say time and time again, content really is king. If you create a brilliant piece of content and take time to think about and produce it, the coverage is so much simpler. Finally, here's the example of a campaign called Meet Graham. What's the message? When you see Graham, you do stop and double take, as the image is so astounding. But that's exactly what it's meant to do. The piece has been created to inform and educate on a very scary but real subject. Victoria Road Safety, again in the UK, has stated that they want to reduce the accident and fatality rate road accidents have. They understand that through education and technology, safety is so much better than it was, but it's still not good enough. Why is it good? The piece has been very well designed and researched. Victoria Road Safety collaborated with medical experts as well as artists and various other experts to cover all bases. There are images, videos, as well as so much information around why each body part has been modified to the way it has, and how we humans would need to evolve to survive. What are they trying to achieve? Well, it's shocking, and it puts into perspective the real message behind the campaign. There's so much detail that this piece goes into. There are accompanying videos for each body part, which then go into further detail about why Graham has been created in this way. Victoria Road Safety wanted to spread awareness, and that's exactly what they did. It didn't take very long for all people across the globe talking about Graham. For example, on YouTube, some of the short videos now have over 3 million views. So those are some of the tips for writing, blogging, and engaging bloggers in blogger outreach programs.